We are currently living in a day and age where pro athletes are getting paid stupid amounts of money. We have guys getting paid $300 million, $400 million, hell, we even have Patty Mahomes getting $500 million. But even before we had these ludicrous contracts, pro athletes would be willing to hold out of practices and even games in hopes of getting a bigger deal, and that still remains true today. All 32 NFL teams have now started mandatory training camp. And so far, we have seen 3 prominent stars miss out because they want bigger deals. Xavien Howard, Stephon Gilmore, and Jamal Adams have all yet to report to training camp in hopes of getting a massive extension, which is understandable. Those are 3 of the best defensive backs in the game. But is it worth holding out of training camp and even games to get those massive deals? And do those 3 players even deserve those deals? Stay tuned to find out. So what is holding out? Well, it's basically a form of appeasement. It's when a prominent player doesn't show up to team activities in hopes that their owner or their GM will give them a massive deal. This method has been going on for ages, and the NFL has been trying its best to prevent them. In the newest NFL CBA, the league tried to make it as hard as possible for players to hold out. The new CBA makes it so that A, teams can't waive the fines that players incur from missing training camp, and B, they made those fines substantially larger. Before the new CBA, they made it $40,000 per day for each training camp you miss. Now, it is $50,000. So if a player misses 1 week of training camp, they then owe their team $350,000. But granted, it could be worth it depending on the outcome of the holdout. So there are really 3 main outcomes of holding out. Either A, the team appeases the player and gives them a bigger extension or contract. B, the team trades the player to a team that will pay him. Or C, the player accomplishes nothing and returns to the team with his current deal. We've seen all 3 play out in recent years. In 2018, Rams star defensive tackle Aaron Donald held out in hopes of a bigger deal. Knowing that Donald was super important for the team, the Rams eventually gave him a 6-year deal worth $134 million. In that same year, we saw Khalil Mack held out from the Raiders. So instead of paying him, John Gruden then traded him to the Bears, who ended up giving him a ludicrous contract. And in 2012, Maurice Jones-Drew held out of Jaguars training camp in hopes of a new deal. But nothing really happened, and he ended up going to training camp with the current contract he had. So what will be the outcome of the 3 Pro Bowl defensive backs that are currently holding out? Well, I think we could see each main outcome happen. Stephon Gilmore has been linked to trade rumors since the end of 2019. He is still a great corner and is currently entering his age 31 season. There are plenty of teams that would be willing to trade for Gilmore, and I'm sure there is a deal out there that Bill Belichick will find pleasing enough to trade the All-Pro. The Xavien Howard situation is pretty unique. In 2019, the Dolphins gave him an extension that made him the highest paid corner at the time. Fast forward 2 years and he's still a top 6 paid corner, but he wants more money. Now, don't get me wrong, Howard is fantastic, but it just sounds to me like he's getting a little greedy. Head coach Brian Flores even confirmed that it was a contract issue, and that is why Howard hasn't been showing up for training camp. So if I were to guess, Howard either goes back to camp with the same deal he had before, or maybe he gets a slightly modified extension. I can't really see Howard achieving anything from this. And finally, that leaves Jamal Adams. Now, Adams is unique in that he is the only player out of the 3 that is still on his rookie contract. He has been fantastic ever since he entered the league in 2017. Now, while his pass coverage numbers did take a dip last year, he made up for that with his versatility and pass rushing skills. The Seahawks gave up a haul to acquire him from the Jets, coughing up 2 first-round picks, a 3rd, plus Bradley McDougald. They traded for Adams knowing that he would want top money for his position, and I'm a little surprised they haven't extended him yet. If you're Seattle, I think you have to extend him. You gave up so much to acquire him, and he has been great so far. So all of that begs the question, is it worth it to hold out? And the answer is, it depends on your situation. And your situation depends on a lot of things. It depends on how good you are. It depends on how cheap or wealthy your owner and GM are. It depends on what future assets the team has to eventually pay. It depends on a million things. So holding out is extremely risky, and you have to be super confident that your holdout will lead into a new contract, because if it doesn't, then it just leads to a waste of time and a lot of fine money to be earned from your team. Well, that's it for today's video. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and share this with all of your friends. Also, check out all my other social media links listed down below. I have an Instagram, a TikTok, and a Twitter. So once again, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.